Welcome back. It's been a little bit since I did one of these talky ones, but yeah, I thought I'd cover everything that's been going on. I have been slacking on the videos a little bit, however, life has been getting in the way, so that is the reason for that. Now, I am busy. I am actually doing things, working at Whitey's, doing some things around the house, good projects for just life, like just cleaning up and all that sort of stuff. So some other things that I'm going to be up to is that it's now Christmas holidays for me, so I have some time to do things, which makes things fun. That one there, I think I've pretty well decided that I'm going to rip the motor out of it and try and sell that for some parts for the 18RG over there, which is partially pulled apart already. So I'm going to try and get a timing kit, a sump gasket, a rocker cover gasket, and I think that's pretty well it. I'm just going to like try and clean up the engine a little bit because it is pretty gunky. So I don't know whether I'm going to use degreaser and try and clean it out that way, or whether I pull it apart and put it in a tub and try and clean it up like my last motor that I did, which was the 4AG and the A92. So that is that. That'll probably have stuff coming out of it in the next couple of weeks. I wish to be going into the new year without this stuff in my shed, in my way. I want to get that out so I can actually start using that area for storing car parts, so I can, well, actual parts that I will use again, so I can actually start building some cars, because this is, it's a lot of time and effort to try and sell everything, and I just don't have it at the moment. I can sell it all in one hit, that'd be great. Get rid of it all, someone else can make money off of it. I've made plenty of money off of it over the last couple of years, so move on what's there and hopefully someone else can have their turn. This one here looking like it's a bit of a abandoned car at the moment, so got to clean that up. Got to make some phone calls today to try and find a gearbox for this thing, and over the Christmas break I will try and, if I can find one, swap it out and make this pretty again. I also might try and see if I can find one of the little corner lamps there, just because that's the other thing that's kind of dicky on this car, and just, yeah, give it a proper clean up and give it some loving, because it looks abandoned and it's a bit sad. So yeah, that's another thing I plan on doing. Work on the 32 shall also probably start not this weekend, maybe the weekend after, Christmas. Yeah, I think that might be the go. It's either that or, yeah, the weekend, like, so not this weekend coming, but the next weekend. So that way, yeah, I've got to start on it. There's plenty that I can do to it, so I can pull that whole front clip off. I do have like a front Rio and all that sort of stuff that has got to go onto it, so that'll cost me nothing but time, so I can afford to do that, because, you know, this time of the year kills everyone's pockets. Well, not everyone, but most people, like anyone who's watching this, usually it'll kill your pockets. So yeah, plan on getting a start on that, and then maybe, very maybe, I don't know my chances, but maybe get the A92's aircon sorted, which would be nice. Also the power steering sorted at the same time, because I don't have power steering currently, because when I put the car back together, the power steering hoses leaked. So yeah, that is another thing that I have to get sorted. So yeah, fun times. Also, if Brock decides he's not going to be a soft cock, we will likely be pulling the SR20 out of his Pintara and dropping an RB20 in there. So I'll also be documenting that process, so that should be fun as well, because that's something he's wanted to do for quite some time. He does already have the motor there, so that wouldn't be that big of a problem. So yeah, that's that one. We did have other plans as well with his Datsuns, however, he is yay close to getting power onto his shed, so he's going to focus on that first, so that way he can have a shed with power instead of having to run power leads out there. So yeah, it's a bit of a fun few weeks coming up, so I intend on being quite busy because the partner is going all the way to Rocky for Christmas, and I will be here by myself alone, so get to keep busy. Alright, so got myself a clear bench space, and I started because I couldn't help myself on pulling this apart, but we're going to pull this apart. We're going to get this ready to have the motor out of there. So tomorrow a engine crane should rock up and this should be ready to pull, and then I'm going to try to sell it and one of my gearboxes, because that's the same gearbox as what's in there, and I don't realistically need two of them. So I'm going to try sell one of them and that engine, put together as much of this engine as I can in the meantime. I just want to make enough money to buy a sump gasket, a rear main and a rocker cover, and then I'm going to buy some carby cleaner. I'm going to try clean these up, and then I'm going to chuck it in there. So yeah, I guess I'll give you a little progress update in a minute. Alright, first step done, bonnet off so we can get into there. Next step will be drain the fluids, so drain the radiator, drain the engine, and yeah, then we'll start pulling stuff out. And of course, in classic me fashion, I missed the bucket, but that is one radiator fan, well, radiator shroud and radiator out. Fan's still on there, so I don't know that I'm going to pull that one, but I'm going to see which one's the better of the fan clutches, because this one has one on there, but it doesn't seem to like have a lot of resistance. But we'll have a look, we'll see. Yeah, look, I get this is like a 45-year-old car, but what in the fuck? This is not what I expected to find in here, and it's soft. I have no idea what it was there for, or why it was there, but gross. And pull that off. And then start pulling some other hoses off. And then our throttle thing, which is that weird bar across there. Because back in the day they used to have that sort of stuff instead of cables. It's weird. We replaced replaced linkages with cables, and then we've replaced cables with different kinds of cables that have no cables. Yeah. So one of the things I was just thinking about while I was pulling this off is that attaches to the body there. It looks like it's welded or seam welded or something, but it looks like there's a slight bit of play in it there. Now, do I run the risk of just trying to pry that off, or do I just leave it there? Because I don't need it, because the intake's going to be on this side and it's just going to be pointing this way. So do I pull it off, or do I just leave it? So one of the reasons that I like this car is that, weirdly enough, a lot of the RA40's stuff is based on it, right? Like the suspension, all that kind of stuff, driveline. It has literally the same diff as the Kuki, the first gen, or Zenki first gen diff is basically exactly the same with a slightly different mount setup. A lot of the front suspension is kind of the same. What's weird to me though, so like some of this feels familiar, but what's weird to me though is like how much of it is just unnecessarily like weird, like what the fuck were they thinking? Because this car is only 4 years older than my 8.6. Like it's 3/5 fuck all older than my 8.6. And oh, that's a fucking lovely hose clamp there. Definitely be replacing that one. And just some of the things are just so arse about. And I don't know whether it's because of the times or because of anything like that, but it's just weird, man. I don't grasp what the fuck they were doing, because at the same time that is very close to a 4A. Like, yeah, it's 2 litre, but like design wise that is closer to a 4A. The one thing that I do like though is that the starter motor on these is dumb easy to get to, But then they put the oil filter there right over the top of it. Like, and there's your steering box in the way and everything like that. And that's the other thing, steering box. There were rack and pinion cars around at this time. Why put a steering box in there? Why? That makes no sense. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of having a Hilux, but it was a Celica, their sports car, or a sports tourer, I guess. And yeah, just some of it's so weird. I don't understand. Well, she's a little way up in the air. I don't think it comes across in video very well, but that bonnet line right there is like nearly at the height of the roof of the 8.6 when it's in here. So I'm gonna have to drop this down so I can actually get that motor out, but I've got it up so high so I can crawl under and empty that gearbox and unbolt everything and all that sort of stuff. But up here mostly everything is off except for like your engine mount and the exhaust. The exhaust does have a flange just there, which is going to be easier to get to from underneath. Otherwise I'm just going to cut it with an angle grinder, because that pissy little fucking piece of shit exhaust just isn't going to cut it with an 18RG. So that is one of the things that I'm going to have to do. But yeah, so do the gearbox side of things and we're good to go. Alright, so all the wiring is undone, the exhaust is undone, all the carby stuff is undone, starter stuff is undone. You can see sort of down there, not really. And there, clutch master or clutch slave is undone, speed drive is undone, gearbox cross member is undone off the member and loose on the body, because I'm going to drop both. Just makes it nice and easy to get it in. So it'd sort of look something like that one there. So yeah, this is ready to pull. I've put my engine hook on that side. That one had one already, so that's all goods. But yeah, so this is basically ready to pull. So when the engine crane rocks up, we'll pull it and that'll be in the next video. So for the time being, we are as far as we can go. So the plan with it going forward is pull it out, see what fits on the 18RG that's good, that we need, and then sell it. Sell the 18RC out of that and use the money to pay for some bits and pieces, so I can do like a valve cover gasket, sump gasket, rear main seal, maybe throw a new thermostat in it. I have to buy a new top hose, because I noticed that the water outlet spot on the 18RG is in a different spot. It will still work with the radiator. I may end up just having a pretty well straight hose, so we'll have a look, we'll see, but I'm definitely going to need a new radiator hose for the top. I don't think the factory one will work with where the new water outlet is. So yeah, just some bits and pieces that I've got to get, otherwise part one is done. So for now, this video will go up and we'll just call it part one, and then part two is I'll have the engine pulled, I'll film a bit of that, and then all of the putting stuff onto that motor there, and then part three will be putting it all in and getting it all set up. So yeah, anyway, see you on the next one.